G'day and welcome back to my hobby room. Now, I've got a live special for you. Well, it's not live now because you're seeing it in the future. Yes, but this was recorded live for my Patreons and my YouTube members. I mean, if you want to see stuff like my live shows, well, you'll have to become a Patreon or a YouTube member. And look, watch right through to the end because there's a giveaway from Bask the cat. There's something really good that she's giving away for free. So it's well worth watching. All right, without further ado, this is my live show. Roll the music. I had a gag all worked out for the beginning of this. I had all this stuff worked out, but in the flap, yeah. I was going to start with this. Hi, welcome to my channel. Yes, I'm dying of resin poisoning after doing all that 3D printing. More of that later. Edwin, when and if you get your QA, that's now, I bought a Rebel contactor and never used it before. Same as testers. I haven't used testers, but Rebel contactor is like the old kind of glue. The good thing about Rebel contactor is if you got it in the... Oh, you made it. Hello, Tom. How are you, mate? Yeah, there's a bit of kerfuffle and tech issues here, but we finally got there. Ed, Rebel contactor, if you got the bottle with the little metal feeder, did you get that one? If you got that one, they're bloody brilliant, or they'd be really careful because it's very easy to snap those metal things off. I mean, I snapped so many that now I have all these half-used Rebel contactor bottles. I've decanted them into an old Tamiya bottle with a brush. That's what you use it. But the thing is, with the rod, it's brilliant, is you don't need much, right? It's not like Tamiya thin where it's going to have capillary action go everywhere. You really be careful where you put it because it's like old Airfix glue and everything. It's going to eat in and give you a solid bond. So if you've got two parts that you really want welded together, right? Not, you know, if you've got two parts where you've got to do the seam, Tamiya thin on the outside, right? Tamiya thin on the outside, flows in, they should. But Rebel contactor is brilliant if you've got two parts and you really want a good solid join, right? Or you really want to melt two things together to, you know, they're kind of parts that are a bit sort of bent and everything or warped, and you want to bend them and weld them. Contactor is brilliant because it will eat into everything. So the converse is also true. If you trip it on your model, get it off fast because it'll eat gigantic holes through it. It's not like Tamiya thin, where Tamiya thin evaporates so quickly it really destroys the model. You know, you can literally roll Tamiya thin over your model, it just evaporates. And all those fumes are completely toxic. Yes, yeah. Whereas Rebel contactor, yeah, it's still got a smell, but it hasn't got the high evaporating level. It's more jelly-like, okay? So I love it for most things. Like you want to put a ship hull together, Rebel contactor, because you put that on there and rubber band it up and everything's bending into shape and it's melting the plastic and that's not going to come apart, you know. Although I would then come back once I've got it all together with a Tamiya thin and use the Tamiya thin on any of the little joints. They work well together. Contactor will do the initial job of like that. It's the hammer, right? In it goes, bang, and then you can adjust with Tamiya thin, and you can also use Tamiya thin to remove Rebel contactor blobs. So say you're putting it together and you're getting a bit of oozing and splattering. If you get your Tamiya thin and wipe it over that, because they're all basically polystyrene cements, the Tamiya thin will actually smooth that out and thin it, and then the capillary action will push the contactor back into the hole. So I've used both of them in conjunction. Contactor first to do the robust stuff, Tamiya thin second, because that will basically clean up the joints and fill anything that the Rebel contactor hasn't. So it's good stuff. I love it. I use it 90% of the time. And then about 5% of the time I use, well, probably more like 80% of the time. And then 10% of the time I use PVA white wood glue. Because amazingly, PVA white wood glue will actually glue plastic parts together. I've done it heaps of times. Right, you've got to wait a little while. But the one I use, Sellies, unlike some of the glues I've seen people have in the Northern Hemisphere where you put it on, they've got to wait a day for it to adhere. I don't know what that is. But Sellies, literally I can put Sellies on two parts, and then if I use a bit of heat and rub them together and push and everything, they'll be tacky, and then I clamp it, put it aside, 5-10 minutes later come back, and it's adhered. I can still pull it apart, but it's adhered. If I leave it to the next day, then they aren't coming apart. That's going to be a big job, right? But PVA is very good for like spot locating things. So white wood glue is good for if you just want to sort of put things in position, don't want them flopping around while you're testing it. It works very much like that liquid tape stuff that I've got. liquidate stuff that allows you to, you know, you can pop it on one, pop it on the other, wait till it dries, and it's a contact. It's like a contact adhesive. So they go click and they join, and you can pull them apart. But that leaves quite a horrible residue. It's a real pain to get rid of. Acrid here, on the other hand, doesn't. It's really good. So yeah, so I switched the iPhone SE, and it came up. There's a low feed. Everything's really good. And then it just went, "Arrgh." So I had to actually start a brand new one. So I sent those links out. So sorry about that. 4 of you here now. Hello. So Clayton's here, Tom's here, Ed's here. Who's number 4? Who could it be? Oh, look, I didn't even get time to like do the beard check, you know. I haven't even waxed my mustache. Lucky it's getting long enough these days. It does sit here by themselves. Yeah. In fact, I think this is reminiscent of what happened last time. There was like a big cock up. I don't know. I think I have to use the iPhone SE for the feeds because I don't think they support the iPhone 7 anymore. Obviously, with button layout, you know. Although that's the first time I've seen that button. That's new. I mean, oh, let's change. Let's Facebook. The buttons have always been down the bottom. No, we're going to put them up the top this week. Yeah, that'll be good. That'll bugger up the baby boomers. Yeah, bugger the boomers. That's what they do. I mean, the new Facebook app didn't work on the iPad. It crashed. It came up with a whole lot of code and everything. It was ridiculous. It took about 2 or 3 or 4 goes, and eventually it started showing me some pictures. I mean, hopeless. Hopeless. You know about my adventures with it. The resin printer, brilliant. Works really well. I mean, for $99, you know, woohoo, terrific. But, yeah, the fumes were too much. I had it in a separate room. It's back to back behind that stash. There's another room. And I had it in there. And that room's got a little kitchenette and everything. And that was brilliant because I had water there to do the resin, washing the resin away, because I had water, washable, low odour resin. But that's the problem. Because it was low odour, I couldn't tell the fumes were leaking the house because I had towels on the door and everything. But there must be great gaps in this old place. There's probably gaps. So what was happening at night time is those fumes were leaking in my bedroom. And by the time I woke up in the morning, I could hardly breathe. My eyes were just bleeding. Well, they weren't bleeding, but they were watering, right? They were absolutely bloodshot. And I was going, what the hell's going on? So the resin fumes, because I'd left the resin in the vat, although the cover was on the machine, because that was a trick that I found. You could just leave the resin in there, hit print when you need to. But the trouble is, there's still a little fan and a little ventilator at the back. And even without the fan on, those little fumes, they make their way out. And I can't smell them. So they were slowly invading the house. And especially at night time, I was asphyxiating myself. So I can move the resin printer to the garage, and that's probably what I'm going to do. Tom says, "Fockers, I am your father." Yes, yes. It's a chat. So is there anything anyone who wants to say? I mean, yes, it is cold. Okay, anybody's asking. It's a friggin' middle of winter here. And although we had a couple of days of 28, 29, which was lovely during the day, it's still getting down to single digits at night time, okay? So you poor buggers up there who are scorching, well, for us a 28, 29 degree day is lovely. You know, I know a lot of you think, oh, horrible, that's a lovely day. But in winter, when the contrast is, it'll go down to 8 or 9, or where Becca is this morning, it's 3 degrees. He's at QMHE, which is the big model show, the second largest model show in Australia, right? Don't need these on. He's in QMHE, the second largest model show in Australia, and I would have gone, but he wanted to take his son, so there was no room left in the car after his 50 model entries that are all stuffed on the back seat and boot. So, yeah, yes. So I'm not going. Actually, I'm not going because I haven't got any bloody money, which is a bit of a worry. I mean, I'm okay. I'll be rich tomorrow. Everyone pays me tomorrow. It's always that way. David Eves Minions. Right, there's a whole stack of these I got for him that we found online that were free. Well, no, actually, I think they cost $1. It was just like really cheap. So we got these minions, and I'm going to print them out for him because he does me a lot of favours all the time. So I'm going to print them out and send them to him. He's always sending me stuff. And then plans for things. Well, I'll certainly be doing more cannons. I don't know if I'll do them this big, right? Because that is the big one. Right? So for comparison, right, that's the cannon that I printed out that I showed everything on. And then those, those are the ones that actually went on the ship. Right? Yeah, that's the 6-pounders, right? At least the 12-pounders were a little bit bigger, right? But the 6-pounders are tiny. You know, if I take my littlest finger, I can obliterate one of them. They're so little. Well, I managed to rig those. That's what I did yesterday, is I actually rigged those cannons. So I'm having trouble getting parts off 3D printed stuff. Always breaks. Well, it depends. Are you printing? Are you printing, or you've bought them and they're already coming and they're on a raft or something? You know, I didn't think you had a printer, Clayton. If you've got a printer, you should be using that spatula thing, which you can put holes in your hand, right? If you're buying them, they come and they've got a raft on them and everything, right? You'll need some very fine sort of nippy things like the ones I've got here for doing rigging, right? This sort of thing. And you can go around and nip all the stands. Normally they should flick off. If they've done it properly, you should be able to get it with your finger and just flick off all the supports. Although I don't do what I did when I actually flicked the supports off this. There were a couple of pokey out things that should have been on here and a couple of rings, and I like flicking everything off. Didn't have my glasses on, you know, in there, and didn't realise there's resin fumes even after it finished printing, and yeah, I flicked off all the bits. But if you've got one of those fine little nippy things, you can go around nip, 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 nip. You bought them, so you bought them, yeah. Well, you do that, okay. As far as the raft goes at the bottom, you're better off with some sort of pliers type thing that you can go on and go, you know, or get your knife out. The bottom rafts should snap off. Usually the parts are above, like most of the stuff you buy is resin printed, and just nip, you know, especially if it's fine detailed. Like if it's a minion, you just go rip and rip it off. It's not a problem. But for anything fine detailed, go and nip, because there could be little fine things on there, like with my Canon. And, you know, so take your time, take them off. So, Ed says, I can't get the glue out of the contactor. Okay. One trick with the contactor is the tube can fill and set with the glue. And what you do is you carefully pull the tube out, right? And move it well away from the bottle, okay? And then holding it with something, a tissue or something, so you're not touching the metal, is you get a lighter. Happy if you smoke, it's handy, but, you know, a match or a lighter or a candle or something, right? And you hold it up at an angle and you just quickly put it to the end there, and you'll see it go foof, like a flamethrower, and pull it away, okay? And that actually clears the tube. So that's what your problem is with your contactor, is the tube can be jammed. And you can do both ends, because what happens is the contactor being a thick kind of gel, it can, if you've left it sitting on your bench for ages or it's been sitting in the shop for a while, that tube gets clogged. So make sure your tube is clear, and make sure you can like run water through your tube. So check that first. If that metal tube isn't running, that's why it's not coming out. So you can try that. Otherwise, it should be fine in the bottle with the plastic and everything. It's not going to, it really clogs it up. But yeah, that is one thing, is doing it. Don't do what I saw one dickhead do at a bottle club, is he left the bottle, the tube in the bottle, and he got his lighter out wet. And of course, he had a bazooka or a flamethrower, because it's drawing all the fumes out of the bottle, just about set fire to the whole bloody hobby club. So yes, that's it. It's always a problem. Yeah, Rick. In the end, what I ended up doing, because I actually because I used to put the contactor in my travel box to go to club and everything, forever breaking them in the car while it's travelling, it had snapped the tube off. So I had all these contactor bottles, which were half full, were useless because the tube was broken, and not just the tube was probably still okay, but what happens is there's a little grommet thing, the little yellow grommet, rather, the bottle's blue and there's a yellow grommet. Don't ever break that, because once that breaks, it's stuffed, it doesn't work. So I ended up with at least half a dozen of those. So when I emptied a Tamiya thin bottle, I started decanting the Rebel contactor out of these half-used bottles. And I think I just did the last one the other day. That's been quite a number of years now that I've been using Rebel contactor out of an old Tamiya bottle. And if you've seen, or you watch my videos, I actually cut the label off the little Rebel contactor blue thing, and I glued that to the side of the old Tamiya thing, so I know that's what it is. I mean, yeah. Right? Because you can't buy it like that. That's me. That's the label peeled off the side of the contactor bottle, and done that. What you can do now, though, is, because I'm just about running out, is you can buy contactor refills. Okay, so that's contactor, and it's a little refill. I did get sent these. Really, don't know. It's Galleri. I don't know. They're airbrushes. They look really nice. They're really quite shiny, and they look really well made. The prices aren't cheap if you have a look online. So, you know, this is supposed to be quality stuff. Like water type quality. And I will be doing the review hopefully later today, and I'll get it out for this week. But yeah, absolutely, they looks gorgeous in the box. It looks like quality stuff, you know. It's got a good weight to it. Like, it feels like an old water. It's got a good weight, good feel. Oh, I can't wait to try them out. I just haven't had time. There's just so much been happening in my life. So I've got a couple of those to review for them. They've been pretty good about it. They sent it to me ages ago. They all say, we've been watching your YouTube channel for a while and we like you, you know. And then they say, will you review our cardboard box? Huh? Well, you do unboxings, don't you? Wouldn't you like to review our cardboard box? No. Well, we can send one full of chocolates. Really? We're talking about 3D printer, right? That one that I printed, you know, all these silly things on. All right, resin printer. Good little printer, but I can't handle resin. Okay. So Bask's birthday's coming up in a few weeks, and she said to me, Human, you don't need that printer. And of course, I'm ordering the Neptune anyway, and I've got that other one coming from China, so I'll have a print farm in there doing 3D printing, but with filament. So Bask said, it's my birthday coming up, but I'd like to start giving away presents. So you can have a free 3D resin printer. The one that I've reviewed, the one that I showed, as long as you can cope with the fumes, as long as, you know, you get some PPE gear, right, your mask and everything, right, mask up, put it in the garage or somewhere that you can have ventilation, but it doesn't go into your house, right? Don't print it in your hobby room. Don't put it into anywhere near any other people or pets or animals, right? And don't buy the odorless stuff because you don't know there's fumes. You're better off, I believe, you'd be better off buying the normal resin that stinks, so you know it's there. You can smell it and you go, oh God, that's getting in the house. Shut the door, shut the door. Anyhow, free printer. All you got to do is answer a few questions. Are you ready? Okay. Bask's birthday's coming up. How old is she? Here's a hint. I got Bask just before I started doing the YouTube channel for modelling. Before that, it was just a little YouTube channel for whatever I wanted to do, you know. So I started doing it modelling. I did that Zvezda review, right? It was the first one I did. Oh, the motorbikes are out. They're out for their morning run. Yeah, we'll talk over them. And she turned 1 that same year, because September is her birthday, coming up in a few weeks. So she turned 1 the first year that I was doing my YouTube channel. So you should better work it out. You should better work out how old I is, because you better tell me, because I've forgotten how old she is. So that's how old Bask is. That's question number 1. Question number 2, and these will be written down in the thing. How many build videos have I done? They're not reviews, not tugs and wanks or anything like that. How many build videos in total have I done? All my ships, all my tanks, all my spaceships, all my aeroplanes, right? Whatever. Anything that I've done, submarines, whatever. How many build videos have I done? Okay, Bask is going to weight this. If you've ever donated to the channel through PayPal, right, you get a point for every shekel that you've donated, up to 5 points, right? Up to, basically a shekel is $10 Australian, so up to $50 Australian. If you sent that to me, you get 5 points. So you're going to get 5 points each for getting those first few questions right, so you got 15. You get another 5 if you've sent money to my PayPal, harry@houdinimodels.com. Right? If you've ever bought a curry for me, that, you know, buymeacurry.com, again, you'll get a point for every shekel. Okay, so if you've spent quite a bit, if you've put 50 Australian dollars through there, you're going to get 5 points. That's maximum you can get. If you're on Patreon, which you guys would be, you get an instant 5 points. All right. If you're on YouTube members, you'll get an instant 5 points. So it's weighted towards, yeah, if you're on Patreon and you're on YouTube members, and remember, you can sponsor, you can sign up for this for $1 a month, you know, if you're a cheap skate. But, you know, a few other dollars would be helpful paying my bills. You want me here? So it's a bit of a drive to get people to basically join Patreon or join YouTube members, sure. But also just remind them that, you know, it's really worth their while. And this won't be the last of them. Like, we will give this away. This will be Bask's giveaway. In fact, she wants to call it Bask's Once Only Birthday Special. I don't think she thought through the acronym on that one. So, yes. But anyhow, there's a free 3D printer there, and it's weighted towards YouTube members and patrons. Right? You guys will basically have the advantage because you support me. So that'll be it. And then those airbrushes that you saw, they'll come up down the track. And there's cordless compressors, they'll come up as well. So there's a whole lot of things. There's some kits that have been given to me I will never build. Right? Honestly, I like them, but I'll never build them. So we're going to go through the stash and pull out things I'm just not going to build. And they're probably not worth selling. They might be a $50 item, but I'll give them away. So this will be the thing. Now, I will set up a link for the competition where you can go to, and that will be basically in the description, and I'll add that later on, okay? We're going to give away stuff pretty regularly, maybe once a month, maybe once every 2 months. We'll give something away, especially if people are sending me things, like they're sending me printers and things to review. I don't really need them all. I'll review them, I'll use them for a while, and then I'll give them back to the community. So there you go. Yeah. All right, well, if that's it, no one's got anything else to say, I really could do with some breakfast. I've enjoyed having a chat. If you like this and you'd like me to do this again, say, monthly or whatever, let me know. Let me know in the comments. Send me an email, whatever. Comment in the comments on YouTube members there, or in Patreon, whatever. Shoot me an email. Send me a letter. Whatever. All right, I'm going to wrap it up here. Thanks for tuning in and finding me. And yeah, I'm sorry about the cock up at the beginning. But anyhow, we got there in the end. And that's what she said. All right, it's goodbye from Australia. And it's hooroo from Harry Houdini.